All right, I'll share the screen with the audio. All right, brothers and sisters, let's start the session. I'll start sharing it. This time we'll do for 3 times Sai Shvaraya, and then we start on with the session. Om Sai Ram. Sister Vidya, why don't you lead that Sai Shvaraya since you are there? Omkar and 3 Sai Shvaraya.
ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Sai Ram. Sai Ram, brothers and sisters. Lovely to be again a Sunday morning to again get back into the satsang board, share our positive energies, bring up others, those who have been lacking it due to some reason or over engagement with the worldly, stuff, and then move on with the next couple of weeks to carry us all along. As we had started this Navada Bhakti, and we call this meeting of every 2 weeks as a Sai vaccine, bi-weekly Sai vaccine. After taking the COVID vaccine, I think we have to continue with this. Never mind, COVID comes and goes. So what do? We are tuning into to Swami, to the inner Sai that we might have missed the link in the weeks gone by. And satsang brings us into that communication with God. It brings us into receiving the voice within which has distorted. It helps us to reconnect with Bhagwan. Why? Because end of the day, this is what is going to drive us forward in our onward journey within this life of the gross plane and thereafter in the astral plane. It's important to note while we do this journey, brothers and sisters, that 100% 24 carat faith is important. We have to dig the name, we have to go within at the same place, same name all the time. Complete fidelity, complete astha, complete faith is required. Bhagwan says, meditate upon one name, one form. Ek astha, ek naam, ek asan, ek japa, ek mantra, ek astha, ek nishtha, ek satya sai. And when we do that, it's like a magnifying glass which we put in front of the sun rays, which is scattered all around. It focuses on the paper and the paper starts burning. And what is that burning? Burning is of the burning of desire, burning of all the arsh, the vargas that we have deposited over the time. So it's important, brothers and sisters, satsang does bring us to share these energies, brings us up. And today we'll be listening to Sister Vidya, how beautifully Bhagwan has created this soul to guide, inspire a lot of us. Okay, and that is what satsang does. By her voice, she has inspired so many of us, connects us to Sai. So this is the power of satsang. And as Adi Shankaracharya very clearly put it, satsangatve nisangatvam. So we should not end with the satsang. Satsang is the starting point where we come together. But eventually it should lead us to nisangatve. That is, we have to go within. That means from many we become one. Nisangatve nirmohatam. Then we start getting into the disconnect mode from the world or the things which are, pulling us apart from Sai. Nirmohatvam, that is detachment. Nirmohatve nishal tattvam. Nishal tattva is a pure soul, unsullied heart, which you see of a child, correct? When a child is born, completely slate is blank, it smiles at everyone. That is Nishchal Tattve. And then Nishchal Tattve Jivan Mukti. Very important is till we attain that part, we may not be knowing, it may look very philosophical and theoretical, but I think that end of the day, we have to realize we have to go back from where we came, not by dying, but by realizing. Okay. And this is important part of the journey. We have been dealing with brothers and sisters, 9 forms of devotion. It's very important to understand where we stand in the type of devotion we have. The prayers we do, are the prayers connecting us to, to Madhava or to Maya? And this short video, which we picked up in Radio Sai, will help us to understand whether it is 9 form or the fine. The fine means penalty, the fine form of devotion. Let's watch this out.
गन्नू, ये फिर से आ गई यार। केमिस्ट्री हमेशा वाट लगाती है। बस 35 दिला दो, पास करा दो, और कुछ नहीं चाहिए।
35? सिर्फ 35? अरे तेरे मेहनत के लिए तुझे ज्यादा मिलना चाहिए। ऐसी प्रार्थना क्यों कर रहे हो?
ഭഗവാനെ, എന്റെ മകൾക്ക് 25 വയസ്സായി, ഇതുവരെ അവളുടെ വിവാഹം നടന്നിട്ടില്ല. അവിടുന്ന് അനുഗ്രഹിക്കണേ. എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് എന്റെ മകൾക്ക് ഒരു നല്ല വരനെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ച് തരണേ.
കാത്തിരിക്കൂ, പാവം. ആദ്യം നിന്റെ മക്കൾ അവളുടെ PhD ഒന്ന് തീർക്കട്ടെ. സമയത്തിൽ അവൾക്കൊരു നല്ല പുരുഷൻ വരും. എല്ലാം മംഗളമായി നടക്കും.
Lord Ganesha, my mom just told me to offer this to you. It's just grass. Anyway, here goes. I don't know what to ask you, but bless me, I guess.
Guess what? I'll always be with you, dear. Even if all you offer me is grass, I'll shower you with grace.
হে গণেশা, আমার ছেলে সব সময় আইপ্যাড দেখে, পড়ার সময়, খাওয়ার সময়। প্লিজ গণেশা, তুমি ওকে এই অ্যাডিকশন থেকে বার করে দাও। ওর যেন আর এই অ্যাডিকশন না থাকে। প্লিজ গণেশা, প্লিজ।
দেখো দেখো, কে বলছে অ্যাডিকশন দূর করার কথা? হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আমি করব। আগে বলো, চলের আইপ্যাড এডিকশন दूर করব না তোমার মোবাইল এডিকশন दूर করব?
भगवान, हमारी कंपनी की ओर से हम हजारों लोगों का अन्नदान करते आए हैं। आज का डील 100 करोड़ का डील है। बस ये डील अगर पक्की हो गई तो मैं वादा करता हूँ कि और सेवा करूंगा, अन्नदान के साथ वस्त्रदान भी। प्लीज यार, 100 करोड़ का डील है।
सेवा त्याग होती है, कोई डील नहीं। मुझसे करोड़ों की आशा करते हो ताकि लाखों रुपए दान में खर्च करें। सेवा तुम्हारे उद्धार के लिए है, दूसरों के लिए नहीं।
Huh. So brothers and sisters, we just saw how and what type of prayers, whether it is 9 form of devotion or fine form of devotion. सौम्या भी सुन रही है लैपटॉप में, बेबी वही सुन रही होगी. All right. So 9 forms of the devotion we started as Lord Rama gave to Sabri, and the first one we touched upon was Shravanam. Shravanam is something that we listen to, and what we are going to listen to when Sister Vidya is going to share. And it doesn't end up into a physical activity of hearing. It should be listening. Listening is absorbing, soaking within us. And that's why Baba very beautifully said, Shravanam has 3 steps. Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyashanam. That means you contemplate on what you have listened, and then you put on practice what we have listened. So this we had covered elaborately on the last session. Let's move on to the next form of devotion, which is Kirtanam. Okay? And Kirtanam, as you can see, is singing of the Lord's glories. The devotee is thrilled with the divine emotion, loses himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to get lost, hit into the pillars because he saw consciousness in everything that you saw. Right? He used to, I remember one Mr. Dang, his son is the state president of Chhattisgarh Sai Samiti. He used to see this awareness in every being. So one time when we were having a full state conference, Sevadal conference, he brought a puppy dog onto the stage when the things were going on. And he started to be Krishna, maybe Krishna. He started dancing in front of everyone. Brothers and sisters, it's not about something that we speak. It's something that we should feel and we should live with. And that is Kirtanam. You get so involved. Your voice gets choked. You know, when you are singing, sometimes you're so lost, so emotional, listening to beautiful bhajans. And that is where Kirtanam finds its fulfillment, right? Narada was so engrossed in the act of Kirtana, he was actually happy when a curse was put on him that there was a curse put on him that you will not stay at one place, you'll keep moving around and singing the glory of God. Imagine what a curse if we get it. We are so blessed that even once in 2 weeks, we are able to sing the glory of God, come together as satsang and on the Thursday bhajans. So Kirtanam, the second 9 form of devotion, and what Bhagwan says to control this restlessness of the mind, because mind is always dancing. You can see how this guy is dancing. Mind is Maya, you know, it's like mad monkey dancing and dancing. And Bhagwan beautifully word paraphrases. He says Nartaki means dance, and you return and reverse that Nartaki, it becomes Kirtana. How beautifully Bhagwan has explained us, right? So we have to understand, if you want to control the Nartaki, that is the dancing attitude of the mind, Kirtana becomes absolutely paramount. Just the reverse of Nartaki is Kirtana, brothers and sisters, right? And then it goes on to say the power of the divine name is unparalleled. People often take it lightly. Now look at this, he's saying, we often underestimate the power of name. God's name is like a real diamond, keep it safe. Whoever does Namasmarana, whatever be the name take, their life will be sanctified. Do not get too concerned about the tune, the raga and the thala. Of course, this is important for us to understand. Those who have reached that state of complete devotion and you are singing your heart out, then you don't need this. But remember again, when your singing becomes such that it starts disturbing, then you're doing greater disservice than a service. So it's again individual Vyaktigat sadhana and Samuhik sadhana. We have to keep that in mind. And then Bhagwan says, chant the divine name wholeheartedly with a complete faith. Faith develops love for God. Nama Sankirtana, when done with absolute concentration and steady faith, like a yogi, will help you achieve transformation. And Kirtana and Sankirtana difference is Kirtana when you're doing it alone. And that's why he says, don't worry about Raga and Tala. But Sankirtana is when you are doing it in the community, when you're coming together and doing it. It's like in the highway, when you're traveling with one car and your lights are off, you will not find the way. You will be lost. And that's where satsang comes. When 100 cars are traveling, even though your light is off, there is light from the other cars, which gives you the light to move ahead. And that is what Sankirtana does. It's like Satsanga, Sankirtana. It helps us to come together, share the energies, catch each other's hand, and then move along in this path. Some may question, Bhagwan says, whether the small name can do anything. And then he says that you can carry and cross the ocean with a small, tiny raft. Correct? So we don't need a big paraphernalia. That Lord Buddha had said, you know, there was a king who went on to gift him a lot of things because he knew Buddha at a lunchtime will grant his blessings after an offering is made. So he went on with whole entourage. There was a beggar who begged an apple from Buddha, and she managed to reach to Buddha and offer her. So and Buddha used to ring the bell when you will find the person with the most sacrifice he has met on that day. So the bell was rang as the king was coming and he was disappointed. He said, Buddha, I have brought the entire thing for you. And you rang the bell before even looking at me. He said, while you have the entire thing, you still have a lot of things remaining. This lady had one piece to eat on that day and still she has offered me that. So brothers and sisters, very important, very small the raft may be, it is enough to cross us across the ocean of this life. Let's get to the third one, which is Smaranam. Okay, the third form of devotion is Smaranam. And when you look at this word Smaranam, there is word Maranam in Smaranam. Correct? So it's also important for us to understand Smaranam is remembrance, and more so all the remembrance that we do in the life must culminate to a point when we are departing this world. Whenever that comes, it can come at different people, have different destination stations. We must be able to Maranam, that time Smaranam during the Maranam. The whole life will be sanctified if we take Lord's name before we leave. And brothers and sisters, our awareness should be such in this journey that we should be able to remember in that phase. This is unbroken memory of the name and Lord. And as Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the one who sees me in everything everything in me. I'm always present. Therefore, always keep me in my mind. In my mind means smaranam. So when you feel your mind, you see, mind is like a what do you call treasury box, right? Whatever you want to fill in, right? Garbage, or you want to fill in with jewelries. It's important that we fill the mind with all the positive and the holy thoughts, with all the remembrance of beautiful memories of Bhagwan, beautiful bhajans of Bhagwan, and then their negativity will not have a space, because they need a space to come in. If you've already filled it with higher consciousness, with the love for God, with love for the beings, and thinking positive, there's nothing which can enter, because you have to give space. The same thing happened with a computer. It gets loaded full, the cache memory is full, it can't take, it goes slow. It's important that we fill this memories positively, and that is what is smaranam. Keep remembering. And Namasmaranam, as Bhagwan says, for remembrance of the name, no expense is involved. It's like in the olden days when you used to get fire, you used to rub the stone at one place. And we have all seen in the Dashera festivals. In fact, Bhagwan had blessed us to be in the 70s, 80s during Dasheras, when Bhagwan used to be presiding all the Dashera festival. And you can see still the priest, when they generate fire, they're rubbing the wood, okay, against the crucible to generate that fire. And that rubbing at one place with full effort is something is Namasmarana. At one place, one name, one asta, one mantra, one japa. And then only that flame of love for God will ignite, which will always keep us hooked on so much that we lose interest in the things outside us, as it happened in the case of Suradasa. We'll come to that part when that story comes. And then a very important reminder to all of us, do not vacillate and change the name of God. Aaj ye guru sahi nahi, so let's go and try this guru out. Let's try this guy out. The faith 24 karat is so important. The thirst has to be like that of a creeper for a tree trunk, magnet for the iron, bee for the flower, and water for the fall of the river for the sea. And then Bhagwan goes to say the yearning part, the pangs of separation must gnaw the heart, the entire being must yearn for union. Do we have that kind of a pang that we are so restless that we could not connect to Bhagwan? We could not listen to Radio Sai. We could not sit down and pray and connect to Bhagwan. Until we have that, brothers and sisters, that intensity, I think will still remain very, very apart. Though physically and ritually we may be doing things, but it will remain at a very, very physical level, not at an emotional level. And that's what Bhagwan says. Do not vacillate or change or try a series of name and rupa that will only fritter away our energy. Ceaseless contemplation of Lord will give ceaseless taste of Amrita. You look at these guys who were digging well, they were not finding the water. They kept digging at different places, 20 feet, 30 feet, instead of digging at one place, 100 feet. All right. So very, very important. We must rub at one place. We must dig at one place, have complete astha, and he will reveal, he will guide, he will carry us. When Krishna was being bade in balance, all the jewels of Satyabhama could not balance, because Satyabhama wanted to own her. Rukmini wanted to win her, win him. So there is a difference. When you want to own somebody, it's obsession, possessiveness. But when you want to win the heart, it is surrender, it is Sharanagati. And that's what Rukmini did. And Bhagavan beautifully said, when the scale on which Krishna was put, so Satyabhama came and put all the jewelry thinking she can buy him off. She could not. And when Rukmini was called, what did she do? She just offered a tulsi leaf. And the power of that leaf, it is symbolic for surrender and devotion to Lord. It was so much that one leaf made the scales go heavier and Krishna went up lighter. And that's the power of devotion. That's the power of Namasmarana, brothers and sisters. When we are talking about Smarana, remember, we should be able to make God bend to us, listen to us, majboor karna padega unhe. And then he becomes dasana udas. He comes to us and then connects us, fulfills whatever we are yearning him for. So Lord's name, Namasmarana, is undoubtedly a biggest link in Kali Yuga, as Bhagwan says. The name, even Pranava, which is smaller, has vast potentialities. It is like a chisel stroke that will release the image of God. You have a stone, but how a chisel brings out a beautiful image out of a stone, that is what Namasmarana does. It chisels all the negativity away and it brings out the beautiful image of the Lord from within. Break the encasement, Lord will appear, right? And then Bhagwan also says it's very important for us. You know why? Because we do a lot of COVID times has led us to things where we could not do a lot of seva activities, we could not do a physical activities, and it confined us, it's isolated us, quarantined us. Why the word isolate came? Because I was so late. So isolate. The I which has drawn us to the world was so late to understand the bigger I, the Sai, and that is why we were isolated. We should take that significance what COVID has brought us. So on Namasmarana, Bhagavan also says constant remembrance of God by repetition of name is itself meditation. Now, those who want to meditate and think we can do Ashtanga yoga or we want to do Kundalini yoga, no need. He says constantly, if you remember the name, if we keep chanting his name, that itself is meditation. When the mind becomes still, the veil is destroyed between us and him. Brothers and sisters, it's very important to take this back of Namasmarana that we are doing it. Let us do it with full intensity, with full focus that finally he reveals, he connects, and it can be done at anywhere. It can be done at any time, in any form that we love. All right. There is no restriction for Namasmarana. In fact, when Narada was asked that, Lord, where do you reside now? Kali Yuga is coming. Vaikuntha or where? He said, Naham vasami Vaikunthe yoginam hridaya nacha mad bhakta yatra gayanti tatra tishthanti naharada. What it said was, Lord Vishnu Narayana said, I do not reside in Vaikuntha. I do not reside even in the yogis who meditate. I will reside in Kali Yuga. Wherever my name is sung, I will install myself. Can we have more assurance than this? That Bhagwan will install himself whenever we sing deeply his name, brothers and sisters. Take this word back from you, from this session. When we go back, we must understand Lord does not reside somewhere up when we look up. He resides within. And that is where when become independent. Independent is when you become dependent inside. That is true independent. When you become independent, you get intuition. That is, you start getting tuition from within, right? So it's very important to focus, and Namasmarana helps us to go within, to seek him, to reach him. Let's look at this Swami's video, and then we will switch on to Sister Vidya, what we have been waiting for so long.
Today we have devotion without faith.
కేవలం శ్వాసము లేని జీవితము జరుగుతూ ఉంటుండాలి.
The life without day, without breath.
దీన్ని చెప్పారు ఇంద్రియ నిగ్రహానికి. కాడి కిందికి రాని ఎద్దు, కళ్ళము లేని గుర్రము, బ్రేకులు లేని కారు, ఇంద్రియ నిగ్రహం లేనటువంటి జీవితము నిరుపయోగము అన్నారు.
Therefore, the bull without yoke and the horse without the reins and the car without brakes are useless.
Brakeless car. కనుకనే ఈ విధమైనటువంటి దీనికి మనం సరైనటువంటి దీక్షను పూనాలి.
We should determine
అన్నిటికీ నీ నామస్మరణే ప్రధానము.
For everything, Lord's name is
ఈ
important.
నామచింతన లేక ఇంకే విధమైనటువంటి దీంతో కూడాను మన జీవితం అనే నావను దాటడానికి వీలు కాదు.
Without chanting Lord's name, it's not possible to cross this line.
ఈ నామమే మన జీవితానికి ఒక పెద్ద నావ.
This Lord's name is the very
ఈ
boat.
నావను ఎంతకాలమైనా సముద్రంలో పెట్టుకొని ప్రయాణం చేయవచ్చు.
You can travel for any length of time in this boat.
నావ కింద ఎంత జలమైనా ఉండవచ్చును.
There will be a lot of water.
కానీ నావ లోపల జలము చేర్చితివా ప్రమాదం అవుతుంది.
The moment water enters into the boat, it will be dangerous.
జలము నావలో ఉండనప్పటికీ పర్వాలేదు.
Doesn't matter.
ప్రమాదం అవుతుంది.
But if the boat is on the water, it is safe. But when the water gets in, it's dangerous.
ప్రాకృతమైనటువంటి భావములు జీవితం అనేటువంటి దీంట్లో మనం ప్రవేశించుకున్నప్పటికీ నామం అనేటువంటి చింతన చేసినప్పుడు నిశ్శబ్దంగా, నిర్మలంగా, నిస్వార్థంగా నామచింతన చేయాలి.
As we repeat Lord's name, we should repeat it, chant it selflessly with a pure heart.
ఆడంబరంగా కానీ,
not with pomp,
లేక అహంకారంగా కానీ
ego.
నామను ఉచ్చరించకూడదు.
You should never be egoistic, full of pride as you repeat God's name.
ఈ నవవిధ మార్గము లోపల ఏ మార్గమునైనా నీవు అనుసరించమని చెప్పారు.
You may follow any path, any one of the paths.
ఎట్ట మనం అనుభవించాలి?
Where?
ప్రశాంతమైనటువంటి భావంతో, నిర్మలమైనటువంటి హృదయంతో, నిస్వార్థమైనటువంటి చిత్తముతో శ్రవణం.
With all the purity, in all peace, you should chant God's name.
కీర్తనం.
Listening, the singing.
విష్ణు స్మరణం.
Chanting.
పాదసేవనం.
Service.
వందనం.
Salutation.
అర్చనం.
Worship.
స్నేహం.
Friendship.
ఆత్మ నివేదన
Surrender.
పోవాలి.
You should picturize the form
అది
as you repeat the
నిజమైనటువంటి
name.
నామస్మరణ.
That is true chanting.
ఈ కలియుగం నందు అదే మనకు ప్రధానమైనటువంటి ప్రాణము.
In this age of Kali, that is the very
కృతయుగ
life.
ధ్యానము, కృతయుగ ధ్యానము,
In the Kruta age meditation,
త్రేతాయుగ యజ్ఞము,
in Treta age,
ద్వాపరయుగం అర్చనము,
in Dwapara worship,
కలియుగం నామస్మరణ.
in Kali age
హరే
chanting Lord's
నామ
name.
హరే నామ హరే నామ ఇవ కేవలం కలౌ నాస్త్యేవ 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 గతిరన్యత. ఈ కలియుగంలో నామస్మరణకు మించినటువంటిది సులభమైన మార్గం మరొకటి లేదు.
There is no other easier path in this age of Kali other than Lord's name.
ప్రయాణం చేస్తూ మనసులో నీవు నామస్మరణ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
You can repeat God's name as you
నిద్ర
travel.
వచ్చేంత వరకు నామస్మరణ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
You can repeat
ఏ
God's
పనులు
name till the end.
చేస్తున్నప్పటికీ నామస్మరణ చేయవచ్చు.
Any work you may do.
కనుకనే అట్టి పవిత్రమైనటువంటి సులభమైన మార్గం ఈ కలిలో ఏర్పడింది.
Such a easy sacred path is present now.
కలియుగం చాలా సులభమైనటువంటిది తరించడానికి.
This is very easy path in this age of Kali.
Wow. So I think Namasmarana, that's the final word we had from Bhagwan. Take it to your heart and understand that we may not be best placed for seva, we may not be best placed to reaching out to villages or whatever. We can sit where we are. Mad Bhakta Yatra Gayanti Tatra Tishthanti Narada. Wherever we sing his name, he will install. Okay, brothers and sisters, I could give a brief what I could get from net, though there were so many of these events that Sister Vidya has. I'll just give a short introduction. You know, Sister Vidya has studied in Singapore, one of the prestigious Raffles schools, trained in Carnatic and Hindustani music. Okay, I start wobbling when I look at all that she has done. She won the Best Student Award from CFAS recently, okay, for a Hindustani music course. She plays the keyboard, has performed on various stages in Singapore, in various Esplanade and the other events that you might have seen. I have seen quite a few of them. I'm a big fan of hers, let me tell you that. That's important. She has also sung alongside Hariharan, the great, our singer, Indian singer Hariharan ji, and the contemporary singers like Sid Sriram and Benny Dayal. Swami has blessed us with a lot of intelligence, talent, values. And I can tell you with her talent, she could have gone out, made her name in singing, but she chose to do Swami's work, gave a name to Swami's bhajans every Thursday after Thursday after Thursday, tirelessly training people on Saturdays, training some of the croaking souls like me every Saturday. And thanks for bearing my voice all this time. And I tell you, I'm very inspired as a youth, Sai young adult, that she has done to inspire people. We had Nishant earlier, and I can tell you, Vidya has been such an inspiring soul, and I've seen her grow because I came to Singapore when she was small, and I've seen her grow in a Sai family. She is, of course, born to a parent, Sister Padma Shri, who is Swami's student, Brother Sriram, who is such a wonderful soul. They both have orchestrated and done so much of Swami's work. So obviously Vidya has carried it forward, and her brother also, Hari. So we are really fortunate, Vidya, to have you today. Please, it is all yours. Please share your heart out and let us enjoy your session.
Thank you so much, Uncle, for your inspiring words earlier and also for that very, very generous introduction. Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here. I think all of you are very, I'm sure you've been doing, it's wonderful that you've been doing this bi-weekly satsang, and I really feel like I'm nobody to, come here and try to give any kind of message to you, but I just wanted to keep it very personal today and just share with you my journey and some things, some moments in my life that have really impacted me in this journey of Sai bhajans and devotional music. So let me just start with one bhajan and then I'll continue.
Sure.
This is one of my favorite bhajans, also one of the first bhajans that I learned to sing when I was very, very young. Of course, at that time I sang a much simpler version of it, but
Sister Vidya, one request, Sister Vidya, we can't see you fully because of the backlight there.
Okay,
so maybe a little bit if you can tell me.
Let me switch it off and see if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is it
much better? Much better. Much better.
Okay.
Yeah. You have your own light, so you don't need a light.
I hope I hope you can hear me. Just
yes,
let
very
me
clear.
know.
Very clear.
पार करो मेरे जीवन पार करो मेरे जीवन तुम हो मेरे माँ बाप भैया तुम हो मेरे माँ बाप भैया हृदय निवासी कृष्ण कन्हैया हृदय निवासी कृष्ण कन्हैया हृदय निवासी साई कन्हैया हृदय निवासी साई कन्हैया पार करो मेरे जीवन पार करो मेरे जीवन साई कन्हैया
Beautiful, beautiful.
So music itself, I feel, uncle, is like it's almost like a sub-religion because there is so much to it that it, as musical people, we're constantly in pursuit of that perfection of Shruti, that steadiness of the mind to really be able
Yeah.
to reach into our soul, to be able to draw out the music without feeling distracted by things around us and to really feel one with the song. That is something that is a lifelong journey, I feel. And it takes a lot of sadhana and it's a very, very fulfilling form of sadhana to just sit and practice Om, just sit and
Yes.
practice Sa, Re, just like, hold each note for like 10, 10, 20, 20 seconds. It's like a form of meditation and it feels so similar to doing Jyoti meditation. It gives you that same kind of stillness and calmness. So for me, music has been a very, very integral part of everything. If I don't practice, I feel like, something is missing. I don't feel as calm.
Yeah.
And it really has been a huge part of my life. So I wanted to share with all of you how that came about. So when I was very young, my mother taught me to sing bhajans. So in my earliest home videos, from when I was like 3 years old, there are videos of me singing these simple bhajans like I don't know, Guru Baba, even Sai Kanhaiya. And that's when my parents realized that okay, like I have a decent enough sense of Shruti and Talam. They put me in a musical training when I was 6 years old. The thing is, I was never interested in it. I would go for the class once a week and I would come back and I would not open my mouth for the rest of the week. So I never developed while I was actually taking that training. My interest in music only started when we started attending bhajans at the Sai Center. So at that time, it was at Mandapam and Perumal temples. We used to go every Thursday. And that's when I heard this different form of music, which is bhajans are different. They are different from classical music. But classical music is an acquired taste, right?
Yeah.
Bhajans are meant to be for everybody to enjoy. You have different forms. You have the more Carnatic classical type, like bhajans like Rama Shri Ramachandra Jaya Jaya Rama. You have the very Hindustani classical type like Hari Gungan Karo Man Mero. And then you have the folk kind like Govinda Govinda Narayana. So you have all kinds. You even have the filmy kind. You have the western kind, like Shambho Mahadeva, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva. So all kinds are there. There's something in it for everybody. Whether you like the western kind or you like the classical kind, there'll be something in the session. So that's when my interest started developing. I started seeing people who are a few years older than me, who are singing in the bhajan group, and I started getting inspired. So I started singing bhajans as part of the Bal Vikas group. But I had a few problems. One was that I was always singing in a very low tone of voice. So I could not sing higher shrutis. And that means that more than half the bhajans I could not even sing. Second problem that I had, my voice was extremely soft. So there were times, even with the mic, they could not hear what I was singing. Once the bhajan coordinator at that time told me, until you learn how to sing louder, you cannot sing on the mic because our mic is not loud enough. Even with the mic, you can't be heard. People can't follow. It was the second problem. Third problem I had was I would get very excited when I had the chance to sing, and I would start practicing. But because I didn't practice consistently before that, every time I had chance to sing a bhajan, I would just go and practice. I would lose my voice. So I didn't have that strength or stamina in the voice to really practice a lot before the bhajan opportunity came. So every time I would be losing my voice, I would become hoarse. And I would go to the bhajan once the coordinator, the harmonium player, actually asked me, like, what happened to your voice? I said, yeah, it's become hoarse. And he said, what, you're practicing too much or what? I was so embarrassed. I was like, and I would listen to all these other people, other children, other girls who are older than me, and I felt they all have such beautiful voices. Why do I not have a nice voice like that? Why is my voice little bit if I exert it, it's going hoarse? I can't sing the higher tones, and I was so frustrated about it. And I remember this particular moment when I actually broke down. I was so upset, and I cried and I prayed to Swami. I was like maybe 10, 11, 12 years old around there. And I asked Swami, like, why did you give me such a voice? Like, I'm so interested in singing bhajans. I practice so much when there's an opportunity. I really want to do this. Why have you given me this kind of voice where every time it's becoming hoarse? I can't sing properly. Why didn't I get a nice voice? And I was so like that moment of earnestness, right? Then things happened. I continued singing bhajans. I became like, at one point I thought I should just start contributing more in the bhajan group because I'm coming every week anyway. So that's when I took up the bhajan coordinating position, and I started learning a lot through that. I started learning, which bhajans are from which rags, because I would just Google on Wikipedia. I would see what are the notes. I would try it out on my harmonium, and I'd learn that okay, these bhajans are all these rags, and I used to keep it, maintain it in my notebook. So I learned some parts of classical music through that study of bhajans, just out of interest. And then so many things happened. And one day, one of my friends, his name is Ishwar Sitaram. At that time, he was in Singapore. He's the son of Dr. Sitaram and Sister Lata, some of you may know as Sister Lakshmi Sitaram. He's very, very somebody I look up to in music always. He sent me a song sung by somebody called Anvesha, and he said, she has a similar voice to you. You should try this song. And I heard it, and she sounded so beautiful. I was like, what are you talking about? And my voice is not like this, She's such a beautiful voice. But then I thought about it, and I thought, like, maybe I can try to sing in that style. It's a different technique. So I really tried. I engineered, I experimented, I did some things to try to sound like that, because I thought, okay, he's, as an experienced guy, he thinks that there is some similarity. Maybe there is, and I don't know about it. And she was singing in a much higher tone. I tried all those things, and slowly, I started practicing a different style of singing. And I was able to sing higher pitches. I was able to sing more bhajans. And Brother Ravin, who was part of our bhajan group, he started calling me for some of his performances. So he performs at the Esplanade and this ghazal shows and all that. He called me to sing one song. So that is again through the bhajan connection, right? And that one thing led to another, and that's how I started performing in public venues, which Uncle Bindu was mentioning in the intro. It was all through the bhajans that I started getting these opportunities to sing here and there. Then in 2015 or 2016, Brother Ravi Kumar came to Singapore to speak to us, and I had the chance to just like have a few minutes conversation with him. I told him, I really like music, but I gave up learning classical music. I was not so interested in it, but I really like Hindustani music. And he told me that he never had the opportunity to learn classical music. Can you believe it? I mean, for somebody who's such a uh, he's like bhajan idol for most of us. He said that he wishes that he wished he could have learned Hindustani classically. Although he's also South Indian, he prefers the Hindustani style of singing, and he always feels that he should have learned it. So, as a from that standpoint, he told me um, if you have the opportunity to learn it, you must. If you have that slightest bit of inclination to learn it, you must follow your heart and go and take up music formal training. So within a few months, I took it up because I felt that somebody like Ravi Kumar sir is telling me this. You cannot ignore such advice. So I started learning music, and that is when I realized that there is so much more to music. When we just sing bhajan, sometimes we feel that yeah, I'm singing okay and all that. When you learn music, you realize that it's an ocean out there. It's a lifelong thing, and you realize that you're really like this small, tiny ant in that who's just started crawling, not even into the ocean. You just started crawling towards the shores to taste the drops in the ocean. So when I reflect on my whole musical journey, right, it's entirely Swami's gift. When I think about that one moment when I, as a young child, like not even a teenager yet, just that earnest prayer, that moment of prayer, and I told
Yes.
Swami, like, why did you give me such a voice? Why couldn't you give me a nice
Mhm.
voice? I'm not able to sing. I'm not able to, do anything without losing it. And when I just think about that, like many years later, it just struck me like how things have changed. Today,
Yes.
if I'm
Yes.
being given opportunities to sing bhajans and performances, is because of my voice. So it really feels that it's Swami's gift to me. um, I started singing bhajans. My interest in music developed through bhajans. I learned ragas through bhajans, and I learned classical music because somebody I looked up to in the bhajan field encouraged me to do that. My whole performing career or whatever is also through a bhajan connection, and because of that, I really feel that you know, my prayer to Swami is that I will always be dedicated to singing devotional music, never forget this gift, and
Yes.
always work hard to be deserving of it because it really is Swami's gift, and I feel that anything
Yeah.
with that earnest prayer, whether it's about music or anything, that's just that earnest prayer he does listen, and it may not be immediate. It may be a few years later that it strikes you that something has completely changed because you had that earnest prayer, and
Yeah.
it's such a huge realization for me uh, that my entire musical journey is a gift from Swami. So
Beautiful. Yeah.
on that note, I just want to sing one more bhajan.
Yeah. Before you sing, I want to ask you that what is that drives you? You have such a beautiful voice, and we always talk within ourselves that you could have gone to Saregama or the musical talent show. There's so many of them. But you and brother, Nishant, you are so talented, Ravin. I always think, and then we say that you have given your voice for Swami. What makes you believe that you did not go there and you have so much of love? You Thursday after Thursday keep doing, you know. So what is that?
Uncle, it's just rooted in this belief that my voice, if not for Swami, I would be stuck with that same voice that I was crying about when I was a kid. I would not be performing. I would not be doing anything. I would be nowhere. I would just be, singing things. I would be trying and trying. I would be losing my voice. I would sing only very limited set of bhajans because I can't reach higher tones. So I know that everything that I have is because of bhajans. So I cannot, I have to stay true to bhajans, and I have to give back. There is that feeling in me that
Wow,
the
that
purpose
is.
the purpose, the reason why he's given me this voice is so that I can give back through Sankirtan. And it's so that others can listen to the bhajans and feel connected. And I've gotten so much through bhajans. I feel that there is a lot of goodwill when you sing, when you lead sing a bhajan, and you try your best to bring out the feel of the song. There may be, one or two people in who are sitting who may connect with it and they will feel wow. That itself is you're creating a kind of goodwill and good vibes. It's very different from going to a club and singing like a film song. Of course, they will enjoy it, but here there is that spiritual type of goodwill and that good vibrations, which to me is much more important. That is the grounding for any singer. You have to have that grounding and that humility so that you don't go astray.
Beautiful.
Because once you start feeling like, yeah, this is all because of me, and that's when you start think may change. I feel like whatever I have is
Superb.
because of Swami. I have to continue to give back and continue to contribute in this way.
So two important messages you gave, Sister Vidya, to all of us. One is gratitude. You never forgot that. And gratitude is something that you owe all this talent to Swami, all that he has helped you with. Second, you said just now is grounded, which is humility. Despite all that, fruit-laden trees always tend to, come down. So that's what it, and these are important lessons. We see you so humble, so nice, so, so dedicated, where you could have made your career, you could have gone extravagant, but you chose to do everything for Swami, centered it around Swami, and then do it. So we're really inspired by that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I would say you will continue to show Swami's light, and we would not let you go without your bhajans, which has been something which we have been waiting for. Please go ahead. Let us have the pleasure to sing, to hear this.
The other thing I feel, Uncle, is that music is such that anybody who's really, when you really get into music, right, there's a lot of similarity to spirituality. So anybody who's truly interested and passionate about music will have that grounding naturally, because it takes discipline. It takes a huge amount of discipline, and it takes that awareness that there are so many stalwarts who have dedicated their entire life every day, 6-7 hours of sadhana to achieve what they have achieved in music. And once you're really into that, it's impossible to get too caught up in all this worldly thing of like, oh, I want to be a playback singer. That is there. I think we do that because we enjoy we enjoy being in music. We enjoy making friends with other people through music and all that. But that grounding is always the first principle. Is always the music itself. It takes sadhana. It takes discipline to cultivate it. And the second thing for me in particular is that if I'm doing anything in music, it's because somebody has liked my voice and called me somewhere. If they like my voice, it's because it's that voice which Swami gave me. He transformed it. It was not like that earlier. I know that. And I listened to some of my very old recordings, and I'm like, I'm so glad that happened. So,
नाईश्वर तेरे शिरडी साई कबीरा जग की पावन आरती हो जग की पावन आरती हो युग युग की अवतार तुम हो।
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely fabulous. I think we have a time constraint. Otherwise, we our heart is never satisfied listening to you. It always go on and on. It wants Dil Mange more. The Pepsi ad. We always want to hear you all the more. But uh, uh, I think we are blessed to have you in the center. Blessed that you are having such parents who have given you these values. This it ignited the love for Swami. And I'm sure you have got miles to go to inspire so many others when you go to US or when you travel anywhere in the world. I'm sure you will inspire a lot of us. And thanks, and always bearing to train people like us also to come to some level to sing. Thanks a lot, Sister Vidya.
Thank you
It's
so
a
much,
real pleasure
Uncle.
to have.
I'm really, honestly, just an instrument.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, moving on, we have Brother Shastri to share one of the 108 names. And before he does that, let's all wish a very happy birthday to Brother Shastri, whose birthday falls today, or rather rises today.
Sairam,
Brother Shastri.
Yeah, Sairam for wishing me. Thanks to everyone. I think Sister Srividya has really brought in that tempo and very nicely. I think Swami's gift, the voice, definitely
Yes.
for every singer, inspires thousands of devotees all through their life.
Swami wrote a Vahini in her name, Vidya Vahini. You know that.
Yes. Yeah, it's a wonderful Vahini. Once again, so many Vahinis Swami has written, almost 16 of them, but then I think Vidya Vahini stands out. Yeah, see, every Vahini, every word of it is unique in his own way. Sairam, brothers and sisters, Swami's 108 name for today is Om Sri Sai Abhaya Pradaya Namaha. I think salutation to Sri Sai, who gives security to all. He removes all the fear, all the tension that everyone has. So I think I just would like to share 2 or 3 incidents of this Abhaya Pradaya Namaha. In olden days, before Sai Kulwanthal came up, Swami used to come through that interview room, and whenever he used to come out, a VVIP or somebody who is sitting in the veranda, the Abhaya Hasta that he used to just come out and give. The Abhaya Hasta itself, I think, soothing, and we look forward to every one of us, even in the thousands of devotees that are sitting in front. When the Swami is to raise his hand, absolute, the kind of magnetic, attention that devotees turn. There's, however far you may be, it may be, the Swami's picture with Abhayahasta. Always that Abhayahasta is what we look forward to as the genuine devotees. One incident that I can share with all of you is, in Oland, when Swami was once giving a discourse in Chennai, public discourse, huge gathering was there. In one of the, child of 1 year kid started crying loudly, who was seated in his mother's lap with no reason. And the mother was trying to, make the child calm, but the more she was trying, the more the child was crying. And Swami just put his Abhayahasta, turned towards the child's direction, and lo and behold, within the Swami closed his hand after giving the Abhayahasta towards the child's direction, and there was a 25 paisa coin in Swami's hand. And Swami explained to the translator there, then and there, what exactly has happened. The child had taken the 25 paisa coin and swallowed it, and it was stuck in his throat. And the mother who was there, the child was right in the lamp, but doesn't know what exactly has happened. And so therefore, Swami's Abhayahasta is there protecting all of us, whether we want it, we ask, we don't ask, he is there all through. So giving his benevolent protection to all of us. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram, brother. Thanks for bringing us to the phase that we should not fear, we should be fearless. Rather, faith can move mountains. Doubts can raise mountains. It's very important that we stand 24-karat faith. Kuch bhi ho jaye, he is there with us. This is important lesson that you've given us towards the end. And Sister Vidya has given us beautiful, inroads to Swami by music. And there is music therapy, as we all know, music wellness programs. Through music, people heal. Through music, people, has a soothing effect on the minds. And we have Zen music, so many musics which affect your brain waves at different brain waves, to lead us to a different, wave pattern where we can find that meditation kind of a syndrome existing in us. Okay, thanks a lot. I think we'll bring this session to end by Samasta Loka. Do one Omkar and Samasta Loka. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलिए भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय. Once again, a lot of thanks, Sister Vidya, because I gave you very short notice, and thanks for agreeing to that, coming and sharing your journey, your beautiful musical journey of Sai, in Sai, with Sai. Thanks a lot.
It was my pleasure, absolutely, Uncle. Please don't mention it. It's my honor to be here. Thank you all so much.
Thanks. Have a blessed Sunday, and we again will meet somewhere towards the end of November. I'll post the dates. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you. Yeah.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.